Well, here I am in my aquaponics area of my greenhouse, and I happened to have lost a fish the other day. It's been a couple years since I lost a fish, but something happened, something got out of balance. I'm not exactly sure, but I ended up having to get a new fish that I'm going to medicate in order to go into my tanks. Hello, I'm Christy with greenlivingoffgrid.com, and today I'm going to show you how to medicate your fish outside your main tank with a 5-gallon bucket. As you can see here, I have a 5-gallon bucket with pillows around it. These pillows provide insulation both in the winter and in the summer. I've been able to medicate fish in the cold of winter with snow. I think it's gotten down to maybe even 10 degrees. I don't remember how the coldest I've medicated fish in my greenhouse here. But if you have pillows around, it cuts down the amount the heater has to work to keep the temperature warm. And of course in the summertime, as it is right now, having pillows around your bucket will help to keep the bucket from heating up from the heat of the day. So I highly recommend insulating with pillows around your bucket, and I use bungee cords to secure them. And also, there are 3 things that are very important for you to do when you're medicating your fish. Number 1, you don't want to overload your bucket with too many fish. If you have a whole tank crash, it's best to medicate outside your tank. Number 2, you want to make sure that your water quality is good. And if all your fish get sick, there's something wrong in your tank. And so if you have a whole tank crash like that, pull all your fish out, put them in buckets, and don't put more than 3 fish in each bucket. I tried to medicate with more than 3 fish in the past, at least goldfish anyway. Even the small little goldfish, if you put too many in there, it will overload the system, and the bucket, the parameters will be too tight, and the bucket will not be able to maintain well enough. And then the 3rd thing you want to do is change your water every other day. So first thing, medicate outside your tank. Even when you have filter safe medication, I have found that with my sponge filters, they get clogged with no matter what medication I use. So number 1 is medicate outside your tank. Use a 5-gallon bucket. Number 2, don't let more than 3 fish be in a bucket at a time when you're medicating. And then the 3rd thing that you want to do is change your water in your bucket every other day, every 48 hours. Alright, now let's take a closer look, and I'll show you how I've set up this medication bucket system. So here you can get a little closer look on how everything is set up inside the bucket. I have a little, I think it's a 100-watt heater. It's either 100 or 150-watt heater. That works really well for 5-gallon buckets to keep the temperature right around 76 degrees. 76 to 78. And I have a little sponge filter. Let me grab that for you. This is a little 5-gallon sponge filter. It's not very big. You can see it just fits nicely in my hand, but this is just perfect for a little 5-gallon bucket. You can see my fish down there. She's a little goldfish I just picked up. And then I have a temperature probe here just to kind of monitor the temperatures and make sure that, you know, nothing's gone off here. Now the next thing that I do when I set up a bucket for medicating, obviously I add my medication, and let me show you my supplies and kind of the process that I go through. Now when I'm going to set up a new tank for medicating my fish, I use these supplies. Paragard, this is my antibacterial, antifungal medication. And again, this is good stuff. It says it's filter safe, but it does tend to clog my filters. So that's why I don't medicate my fish in tank. I've had the same experience with other medications as well. It's just better to medicate them outside. I use stress coat that helps to restore the damage to fins and scales. AmmoLock, because I am setting up a new bucket, the filter is going to tend to go through cycling. So AmmoLock just kind of keeps that ammonia in check, and I just always add AmmoLock to all of my 5-gallon buckets whenever I am medicating fish. And then of course stability just helps establish that new filter. This is especially important if you're going to be medicating beyond 10 days. You probably want to make sure you keep up on stability. The maximum amount of time, if you have a sick fish, they do recommend like up to 21 days of medication. So stability can definitely help establish that filter, even though it won't be fully established in 21 days. But I just use that as I do my medication. This is kind of my protocol, if you will. Paragard every day. Stress coat and AmmoLock, these are the most important to put in with the water changes, and every 48 hours. AmmoLock does wear out after 48 hours, so you want to keep that on there. Water quality is very important when you're medicating a fish. And then the stability can help with filter establishment of the bacterial cycle, although it doesn't establish fully in 21 days. Alright, so let's talk about doses. Now Paragard here, it talks about the importance of removing chemical filtration, which is why I use the sponge filters only in this little 5-gallon bucket. 5 mils for every 40 or 10 US gallons. Since this is a 5-gallon bucket, I'm going to use half of a cap, because that's 2.5 mils. So we'll do half a cap of Paragard. Stress coat. This helps to restore the damage to fins, which can happen when you're getting a new fish and they net it. Netting fish can damage those fins. So I usually use the higher dose. They recommend, they say double the dose to replace slime coat and repair damaged skin. So whether I have a sick fish or a new fish, I use the double dose formula. So 5 mil for 10 gallons, or double dose that'd be 10 mil for 10 gallons. So since this is a 5-gallon bucket, we're going to do 5 mils for the 5 gallons. The little measuring cap here shows you where that 5 mil level is. We've got AmmoLock. This locks up the ammonia, so when your bucket is going through cycling, you add 5 mils per 10 US gallons. Even when you have fresh water, it's a good idea to use this, even with a brand new water change. 5 mils per 10 US gallons, so I'm going to do half of that. About, since this cap is up to 10 mils, I'm going to use a quarter of a cap. And then stability, again, I'm just using this as a hedge to kind of help the filter establish bacteria. So here with stability, it says 1 capful for 10 gallons, so we're going to use a half a cap of stability. So this is what you can use when you're medicating your fish in the bucket. Last thing I put on when I started a new bucket for medication is I put this little plastic, it's just a drip tray that I use for my 12-inch pots. It's a 12-inch drip tray. Lets light in, but it keeps the fish from jumping out if for some reason they try to jump out. Well, it's been about a couple days since I put this little fish in here to medicate, and it is time to change the water. I always change it every other day, going along with the cycle on the AmmoLock. Because with AmmoLock, you're supposed to add that every 48 hours, and it gets kind of murky because it is a new setup. Whenever I do my buckets, you know, things go through cycle, because the filter that I use in here in this small bucket, I do not use in my main fish tank. So anyway, I don't know if you can tell, but it is starting to get a little cloudy. It's not bad. I only have the 1 fish, and when I have 3 fish in here, which is the max I would ever put in here, it does get cloudier quicker. But I'm just going to go ahead and remove the fish, put them in a new bucket, and do a complete water change and set it all up again. So with all of the amenities we need to do for medicating the fish. Alright, so I'll show you how I do that. The first thing I do before I get my water going is I check the water temperature. It's running right about 76 degrees, so we'll try to match that in the new bucket that I'm setting up for the fish. Well, here I filled my bucket about halfway so I can easily carry it out to the greenhouse, but I got the temperature just dialed in nicely to 76 degrees. So I'll bring a few more, after I bring this out there, I'll bring a few more buckets of water to fill it up almost to the top. Only I'll leave about a couple inches so a fish doesn't jump out. But anyway, I got to match those temps and then we're ready to transfer the fish. Now that I turned off the water, I'm going to go ahead and take out this water, take it down to about 2-3 inches from the bottom. Then it'll be easier to catch that little fish over there. Little plants here are reflecting a little bit, but you can see the fish in the corner. They're kind of hard to catch. So I'm going to scoop some of that water out. It'll make it easier to catch them and put them in the new bucket. As I'm moving everything over, I also squeeze the sponge filter out because it does tend to get clogged with the medication. So that's what I do for maintenance. Squeeze it before I put it into the new bucket I'm setting up. And then we'll move the temperature probe. And then it'll be easier to catch this little fish when he doesn't have anything to hide behind. Alright, I'm going to gently move my fish because the whole idea of doing this is to ensure the fish is healthy, and I don't want to use a net or get him caught in a net. So I try to catch him inside a little cup. Some's a little skittish, just know that's how they usually are. But when you have it lower water, you can just easily get him in. See? Just like that. And then we can put him into him or her into this little bucket here. You can come out. Huh? You still hiding? Okay, let's get you out. There, see? Nice and easy. So during that transfer process, there's little contact on the fish and helps them transfer in without any damage to fins and scales and things like that. We're just trying to make sure this fish is good and healthy. So that's the only reason I'm medicating this fish, because it's a new fish for my fish tank. So now that I've set up the new bucket, I just add my Paragard Stress Coat, AmmoLock, and Stability again. And the only one that I need to do, since I change my water every other day, I do add Paragard every day. But Stress Coat, AmmoLock, and Stability. Stability you can add every day as well, because that does help stabilize the system. But that's all I do. I add Paragard Stability every day and AmmoLock and Stress Coat every other day with my water changes, which are every 48 hours. Usually the first couple days they don't eat much, but by the third day, if your fish isn't eating, there's something wrong. So keep an eye on that. And yeah, they should be swimming around like this. They might still be a little shy. This is usually the first couple days they'll just sit on the bottom of the bucket, but by the third, fourth day they'll be swimming around and getting food when you feed them. Usually that's a good sign that your fish is on the road to recovery if they're a sick fish, or that you have everything all set up good. If your fish is coming up to eat, that's a real good sign that your water quality is being maintained well in your medicated bucket. Thanks for watching. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and check us out at greenlivingoffgrid.com.